Hello, everyone, and welcome to our tutorial on how to make an Akira character. Akira, one world, infinite possibilities. Now, oops. If you guys don't know what Akira is, it is a D100 tabletop role-playing system uh, that we are very fond of, and so we thought, we're gonna show off the system itself, as well as teaching you guys how to also create a character in the system. So we are going to go through the book and each available step on how to make a character. I am joined by my good friend White Rabbit through IT.
Hello.
Say hello.
I did. I said hello.
I did not hear you.
That's why we're recording both ends.
Okay, you got multiple audios.
Yeah.
Multiple. Have fun with audio syncage on
Oh, I
that.
will.
Indeed. Alright. Now, yes. Welcome to the Akira system. Uh, this was a locally made TTRPG made here in Colorado. By a gentleman named Daryl Hughes, and his three best friends and his wife. Louise Hughes, Rick Frank, Tyler Finn. Akira is a local. I'm not gonna die. This is why we do multiple takes. This is why it's recording, not live streaming. Akira is a tabletop role-playing game that was made locally here in Colorado. Made by these lovely people right here. These little miscreants of dragons. Go ahead and check out that video for introductions on everyone. But this is a fantasy role-playing game that uses the D100 system. If you guys don't know the D100 system, it is the two 10-sided dice that look like these. Use these dice right here. Now, how to make a character. We are going to go through a character creation checklist, which is going through everything through the table of contents. And my partner here, Rabbit, will be having the character sheet and showing on how to make a character.
Yeah.
I have the book right here in front of me, but we also have this PDF to show you to kind of show off everything. You can get yours now by going to their website at ourowngamecompany.org.
It'll be in the description.
Our own game company. Their website will be linked in the description below, as well as where to order yourself one of these books. You can order the PDF of them, or you can get yourself a physical copy. At the time of recording of this, they do not have hard copies, but hard copies are coming very soon. I think they said before the end of this year they want to get hard copies, and I said, well, order me some.
Nice.
Yes. Right here. This is Akira, One World, Infinite Possibilities. Do we want to read the introduction?
In the handbook?
Yes.
Yes, give me a
Page
moment.
6.
Page 6. I scrolled too far up. It is the edge of the universe, a point where the black void disappears. It is anti-void, full space, or, to some, white matter. This wall of matter lines the horizon, so wide, so far-reaching, that the beings of 1,000 planets cannot find a trace of the end. The end of the universe, it seems, is just the beginning of a world so vast that physics must discover new laws to explain it. Whole systems move within it, creating or negating gravity, believing and denying logic, defying what we know by merely existing. It is an edge where one universe transitions into the next. The lands are mundane and exotic, wild and improbable, hostile and perversely hospitable.
Want to
And
say that one more time? Say hostile and perversible again.
hostile and perversely hospitable, as diverse as the imagination can create. Our forebears, who believed that the sun orbited the planet, would find their beliefs valid somewhere along Akeria. Suns orbit lands, creating rings of life along the endless surface. Life exists in figure eight sets of rings around cavern entrances, radiating areas from tropical to glacial. Moons or planetoids spin around their own centers, creating kaleidoscopes of orbiting bodies. In other areas, suns exist below the surface, creating cavernous lands that cover the surface like lichen. A Dyson sphere with the star position in the center and life on the walls. In Akeria, the people and creatures mirror the variety of the land. Pirates and sea creatures prowl the worlds of the ceaseless waters. Lands of permanent twilight host the denizens of our Fey stories. Vampires, ghosts, zombies, and their like, drawn from their depths by dark wizards. Bizarre creatures hunt hapless villagers, waylay unsuspecting travelers, and cause all manner of mischief and mayhem. People of strange beliefs, powerful or humble, alien and bizarre or comforting in their familiarity, travel the paths in dizzying combinations. It is a land of infinite possibilities where magic and technology, peasants and space ranger, can meet just as easily as neighbors taking out the trash. It is a world where the only limits are the limits you place on yourself. Welcome to Akeria.
Now, the first page describes a quick summary on how to play, and this whole book system it revolves around the how to create a character and how to work on that. Then it also gives a quick synopsis on how to run an adventure, running your own campaign, and kind of generic game masters, or in this system we call them referees, do. They also have, it says right here, if you go to Akuria.com, or our own game company is what it has been changed to, they have pre-built pods that you can purchase and run games of your own. They even have a starter pack just to get kind of people started. And I believe the starter pack is free. So as long as you guys have, like, as long as you get the book, you guys can, someone can run the beginner's adventuring pod for free. So if Rabbit, if you ever want to run Akiria, you can start off with that.
I need a whole lot more teaching before I'm ready for that.
Fair. A little bit of artwork, and also, um, the creator, Dale Hughes, his wife does all of the artwork, all of it, which I think is pretty fantastic. Now, 10 minutes in, we are going to learn on how to create a character. Sure. Going through the character's checklist. Creating a character is time consuming, but enjoyable. You can have characters pre-made for you, or even finish a slab together character as you play. But these methods do not give you the full range of enjoyment that you would get from seeing a character you created from scratch grow and achieve fortune, fame, and general awesomeness. Regardless of method, you need a character to keep track of what is happening as you play. Think of it as a living scorecard. In a role playing game, the situation is given to you by the referee. but you, as the player, are writing the lines for the character and acting them out. As the game progresses, your character's information becomes a record of what has happened and how far your character has advanced. To create a character, the following steps given in this character creation checklist. As you get more comfortable with the system, you can follow these steps in nearly any order as you choose. Unless otherwise noted, all results will be rounded down. The character checklist. When you're creating the character in the Kyria, it is recommended that you follow the steps listed below. Will speed up character generation and leave less areas of confusion during the game as you play. Unless otherwise specified, all numbers are rounded down when computing character information. So, step 1. We must roll your stats. In a Kyria, there are 7 attributes. You got your strength, your intelligence, which is known as IQ, your ego, your agility, your wit, your health, and your luck. Yes, luck is in stats, which is very importantly used in this game system. So now, when you're starting off, there are many different methods on how to uh, roll your stats, but the three basic ones is that there is number one, roll 2d8 7 times, and then you may rearrange and apply these attributes however you wish. This allows you to decide which attribute will be stronger or weaker, thus allowing you to fit your character into the occupation of your choice. Choice number 2. Roll 3d8 and disregard the lowest dice, then repeat this 7 times for each attribute, but you must keep them in order. You will end up with the most of your attributes higher than average, but this method will more likely choose the occupation for you. Or you do the average, which is starting off with 95 points, and you divide them in the 7 attributes as you see fit. You can choose which numbers are going to be higher, which ones are going to be lower, but you are not allowed to go less than 2 and no higher than 20. For this, we will be doing the 3d8 disregard the lowest.
Right here. To the rolling I go.
So, we have here strength 15, intelligence 9, ego 14, wit 15, agility 10, health 8, luck 14.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So now we put a little check mark here on the attributes. We have been rolling the attributes. Oops. Now, next, we must select our character's race from the 7. Then we will adjust the attributes accordingly. So, as I scroll down here, we get to races. Race is the physical appearance and makeup of a character's body, as well as certain characteristics and cultural and behaviors. There are 12 races to choose from, or feel free to use these races as guidelines to create your own. There are 12 races have common language, the language of the 12, that they can speak, as well as their own racial language. Each race has its own special advantage and disadvantages, but they are all designed to make the gameplay varied and fun. Now, to go through each of the races, we have the Arfil. The Arfil share a familiar resemblance to that of the canines. They are dog people. They are so how this is basically man's best friend, and except your best friend is a man dog. I'm trying to make a little joke there.
I got it. It's just...
All right. They are often known as a pair of duos. The Arfil and the Bargwai are usually known to always have an affinity for each other. It's very rare that you'll see one without the other. And we'll explain what the Bargwai is here in a second. The Arfil's ability is just being the loyal canines that they are, they have a 20% bonus against being deceived by anyone, as they are able to sense the truth from everyone. They have greater hearing than any other race, as well as they are able to get down and run on all fours, which makes them harder to hit as well, but also increasing their movement speed.
Hmm.
Okay. Next up are the Bargwai. The Bargwai are very large creatures known to deal with others in a fair, even a methodical manner. Even though they are very strong, they are slow, so they have less movement than any other race. They are a peaceful race. They are very hard to but um, they can, however, go berserk when necessarily needed. So here is an Arful, drawing, and a Bargwai, giant folk. Oak. The Bargwai can go berserk. They can also go unintentionally berserk. Unintentionally berserk is when they are dealt life damage. They have a chance to go into an unintentional berserk, which means they will be attacking everyone around them, friends included, until they are either knocked out or have taken time to calm down. But while raging, they get twice the number of attacks, and they're not allowed to use any projectiles except that of which are the thrown own, and they do not lose any armor while berserking. But while unintentionally berserking, they get the same twice the number of attacks. They cannot use projectiles except thrown own, except then um, they lose a little bit of armor. And then there is the math on how to it's no longer berserk, as well as the chance of going berserk. Then there are the Chevroids. These are your little gray men. You know, they escaped. They got out of Area 52, guys. They got out of Area 52. They are quiet, small, yet a very ruthless alien race. They have grown to hate everyone because everyone is taller than them. They are your standard short friend who gets angry at you just because you are tall.
You're taller. How fucking dare you?
And be careful around these. They will break your kneecaps, no hesitation. They do have a special mind power, or that can avoid confrontation. Upon spending some power points, they can force a person to just not be interested in them. They can tell them just go away, and they'll go away.
Well, that's talk about pacifist.
But imagine your short little angry friend, uh, who is angry just because they're short, being a pacifist, and they constantly threaten about breaking your kneecaps. Now we got dwarves. Everyone knows dwarves. Dwarves are short, stocky creatures with glorious facial hairs, and they are powerful. They are really powerful. They are, the renowned builders, miners, masters of stone and metal. But they stick close to themselves. They usually don't have they don't really they have a distrust of everyone who is not a dwarf, or and it is hard to gain their trust. But when you do, you are a friend for life. Sometimes a friend for generations. and they love to fight, brawl, and drink. Not necessarily in that order, but they do love doing those three things. Um, a dwarf, even though he is short and stocky, he is super powerfully built. The dwarf, they actually hit others harder than most of the other races due to their just solid muscle mass. So whenever you would hit with a melee weapon, that adds your strength bonus, they would deal an additional damage with it. Then we have the elves. The elves are, you got your standard elves. They look like, humanoid races. But they got pointy ears. The pointy-eared creatures they're gorgeous, sexy, beautiful, and um, elegant in their own ways. Uh, Besides their long, luxurious hair, they're not allowed to grow beards or any other body hair whatsoever.
Why is
I don't
that?
know. I I don't know. It's in the book, so I decided to read it.
Ah,
Elves tend to be patient and withdraw from other races, seeking to hone particularly skills to perfection. Only their young feel the desire to go on adventuring and see the world. But other elves decide, like, no, the world's a terrible place. We're gonna stay home and perfect what we know. Uh, but once a young elf has had their fill, they return life back to their home for a quiet compilation and daily, relatively mundane pursuits. The elves' ability is that they are luckier than any other race. They get one additional luck use out of their luck. So the luck stat gives you luck uses and luck attribute bonuses, and the elves get a bonus to that. They get one additional luck usage as well as a bonus to their luck advantage.
mm,
They can apply the adjustment directly towards an attack, their armor. Whereas in like normal races are only allowed to use this luck bonus towards skills and attack rolls. The elves can use it towards skills, attack rolls, armor, uh, anything that would you need to roll a percentile dice on. The elves can use it towards that, as well as uh, adjusting the referee's roll. So, if a referee was to roll an attack against the elf or roll damage against, or no, because damage is not percentile. If the referee were to roll an attack against the elf, they can use their luck to lower that. At the cost of some power points, of course.
of course.
Then we have the gnomes. Gnomes are the very short, stocky creatures that are profoundly curious and for mechanical objects. They're the tinkerers. They like to mess around with things. Uh, they like to look at anything from a mechanical point of view. They want to know what makes things tick, what makes things work. They're the most curious um, creatures of the 12 races. Uh, though their curiosity does border on obsession. They are the greatest inventors of Acaria. The gnomes are a bit of a nuisance because their curiosity takes hold of their intrusive thoughts more often than not. They like to take things apart and put them back together just to see how they work.
Sounds kind of like an 8-year-old.
Other races tend to be wary of gnomes because they are just as curious about people and their things, which often leads to missing items at inopportune times. Although these items are often returned in better condition and in which they are borrowed. Now, the gnome's abilities is that they are magical creatures at the end of the day, so they get a bonus to spellcasting. But on top of that, they have excessively long fingers, like excessively long fingers, which make it awkward to hold weapons. So they do get a penalty to holding weapons, but they get a bonus to any spell casting, as well as any physical skill that does not include a weapon. So they get a bonus. So even if you're playing a gnome fighter, you still get a bonus to your physical skills that don't include weapons. Because they didn't want the gnomes to be like, oh, they're it's obvious you shouldn't play them as anything but a wizard. You're like, no, you can play whatever you want. And the gnomes like weapon detriment does not affect projectiles or thrown weapons. So anything that has a ranged attack, they don't get the penalty to. Now, humans. Self-explanatory. Humans. You're a human. I'm a human. He's a human. Even though his name is Rabbit, he's a human. We're all, we got the middle line, average above all races. But humans are stubborn. The most human adventurers want to be the top of the best of the best, the top of their class, whatever they want to do. Oh, whether it be, they believe that they have the greatest social beliefs, political views, moralities. Um, their ego is so massive that other races tend to deal with them on a society by society basis, um, because they're unsure on how humans will take their way of life more openly. The human's ability is again very very arrogant. Arrogant. When you are learning a new skill, you must be taught by a teacher to teach you that skill. Not humans. They go, if they have seen the skill been used at least once, then they can teach themselves that skill. Although at the downside of it takes twice as long to learn that skill than it would be to being taught by someone else.
Well, self-taught helps a lot.
Due to this ability, humans are able to invent their own skills and tutor them as well. Well, of course, any new skills can be taught by your referee in discretion.
Yes.
But you can also invent, different skills. The Laquarian. These are the bird people. Laquarian are despectively strong bird-like creatures. They have feathers instead of hair. They have a long, protrude beak-like nose. And beyond those distinguishing bird-like features, they are closer to humanoids than they are to anyone else. So, from the waist down, they're more human-like than any other race, but they have the distinct bird-like features, as well as their bones are less dense. Hell, some are even hollowed to make them lighter than most. Because the Quarians are not very sociable, they are very loyal. So once you have gained one trust, you will have a very fierce and swift friend at your side.
It's like having a sonic bird person with a sword.
The Laquarian's vision amplifies any existing light, so they can see in the dark as well as full daylight exists, as if full daylight exists. When a sudden, instant change of light occurs, they become blind. They have light sensitivity, so they will need two full turns to let their eyes adjust. They may swivel their head 180 degrees like an owl. Well, and as well as because of their less dense and hollow bones, they can jump great distances. Due to their lightweight and muscle ratio, they can jump vertically or horizontally. Vertically, double their height, or horizontally, 4 times their height. Don't let these guys join the Olympics. When they use their jump in combat, they may jump over their target to attack them in the back, which gives them a bonus to their attack adjustment. But there is a very small chance that if your target is intelligent enough, they may be able to set their weapon to where the Lucarian is going to land and can counterattack. But it's a very small chance. You know, there has to be upsides and downsides to everything.
Of course.
The Orc. The Orc are rumored to be a cross between an elf and an ogre long time ago. Legend had it that an elven maiden was captured by an ogre chieftain. And
Moving on.
they have, you know, the standard light to dark green skin and but because of their ancestral roots, they are also known as they are very well known for being selfish due to the ogre blood coursing through their veins, but very lighthearted and as well as having the facial features from their elven. They have high eyebrows and pointed ears, and uh, their hair grows in a crown-like fashion, drawing down. Though it normally grows in dreadlocks, and they are very fierce fighters, fierce tribal fighters who are known to include bones or trophies intertwined with their hair. The orcs' ability, due to their great hunting skill, the orcs have a 60% base chance to sneak up on a target if it is unaware of them. If he is successfully undetected, he gets a bonus to his attack. Uh, if you choose to make this a targeting attack at the cost of some power points, you lose that 20% bonus, but if you do hit, it is an automatic critical strike. But this only counts as the first strike against their target, because any other additional strikes, they are now well known for them. The orc also see an infrared vision, kind of like how predators do, the predator from the Predator movies do.
Yes.
They can see heat sources at normal sight range.
That's a scary thought, always having heat vision.
Well, you would know if someone's dead then.
Very true.
Then we have the Rogmai. The Rogmai are very humanoid-looking lizards. Lizards with the long snout and the soft skin. They do not have scales. They have a leathery skin that grows in various colors. It can be any kind of colored lizard that you want. And they have tails. Full-length tails, actually, which can be used in certain scenarios. The females are larger, more dominant than the males, so they are a very female-dominant race. Overall, they're a very friendly and fair-dealing race. However, they do not like enclosed spaces due to they are scared that their tails might get stepped on, which is completely understandable. Rogmai, having living in aquatic land, can hold their breath up to 20 minutes instead of minutes up to their health score. Due to their full tail, I'm stuttering a lot. Due to their full tail, their movement is not slowed while in water, and it is doubled while they are swimming. They can also stiffen their tail as a third appendage to stabilize themselves, kind of like a tripod, which converts their armor, or their dodge bonus from armor, into an attack bonus with any ranged weapon. So they basically become a standard sniper, transforming their dodge bonus into an attack bonus. But that's not the only reason, however, as they may also use their tail as a weapon. When used in combat, it will deal additional damage to hand damage. They may attack both front and rear targets at the same time at the cost of some power points. Otherwise, they must choose one or the other to attack. So you can attack multiple targets at once at the cost of some power.
Always good to hit more than one target.
Then we have the Superians. The Superians are like the Arfels, except they are more of a feline-based race. They have more cat-like facial features. They have shaggy mohawks that extend from the top of their head to their ears and can grow out to full manes. And it says other than that, they have no other body hair on their body, which is kind of weird. Uh, the race is also free of any form of tail or whiskers. However, they have the traditional slit pupils, longer front fangs, and claws on all of their appendages. The Superians live in a matriarchal society. Superian women are larger than their male counterparts and hold more positions of power and esteem, kind of like this Rogmai. Superians tend to be more of a volatile race, quick to anger, but also very quickly to dismiss any altercations. They're very seldom. They hold grudges, prefer to deal with the source of their anger immediately and efficiently, usually through one-on-one tests of pure strength. Other races try to tend carefully with Superians due to their quick to anger. Their abilities is that they have claws on all appendages, adding bonus damage to unarmed attacks. Standard dual wielding rules will apply to them. We're going to put a pin on that. And this unarmed attack is allowed to carry through. The item strength of their claws is equal to their health score, and will heal back at life point recovery rate. Your claws can break. You need to be careful about that. If they do break, they must fully recover before they can be used again. And because of how magic works, magic flows through the body and usually out your appendages. Due to the claws, it makes it awkward to cast spells, so they get a penalty to casting spells.
That makes sense.
My wand. Look at my wand.
And then last but not least, we have the Syntis Man, which are an insectoid race. They are bug people, bug humanoids with a hard exoskeleton, and rare of showing any emotion of any kind, regardless of what the bug's life has shown you. Although it is rumored that they carry extreme emotions, they're always held in check. Their language is a pheromone based due to the way that their mouth is formed, and they cannot yell or speak loud. So they are a very quiet race. Due to the way their bodies are, there is no distinguence of male or female. And the way that reproduction is for Syntis men are a mystery, and will stay that way unless you freaks like to come up with your own theories. Regardless of their hard and heavy exoskeleton, they are still very quick and agile. Their exoskeleton gives them a base armor, factored in by their health, and that's in their abilities as well. Their ability is that they have the natural Chutin armor, kind of like that of an armadillo or a bug. Your armor, there's no agility adjustment for your built-in armor, and it grows in. So your natural armor is how strong it is based off of your health score. Its item strength is twice as much as your health score, and that you were not allowed to have an agility adjustment for it, but it does grow back as your life point recovery. So you do not need to get this armor repaired. It repairs on its own. The disadvantage for this is that you are not allowed to wear medium or heavier armor.
I mean, your whole body's armor.
Yeah. Because it is uncomfortable and it is very hard to move with their chitin in it. It is hard for them to move correctly. But, however, you are allowed to wear light armor. If you are wearing light armor, it increases your chitin armor, your natural armor rating by 1. Accoutrements and shields do not increase the natural rating.
Could you imagine just the natural body armor with just pieces attached to it?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to have like kind of like a wilderness, desert biome, Mad Max vibe, you know, you can be like having other body parts attached to it, I guess. Yeah. So what this means is that if you wear an A1 armor, it is counted as A2. And if you wear A2, it is counted as A3. But you cannot wear armor that is more than your respective health armor type. And also because the Sentismen language is a pheromone based, they technically don't have true names because it is a pheromone based scent is their name. So any spell that requires them to speak their true name, they are immune to. And that is the 12 races, the 12 base races.
To kind of fight against to fight with the stereotype the developers have made, I am gonna say a gnome.
A gnome, huh?
Yes.
All right. So he is going to decide to be a gnome. So he's going to get a bonus to physical skills and spellcasting, but a penalty to melee weapons. So now we get. So now we have chosen our race. Back to the checklist. And I put a little check mark right there. Next up is we gotta adjust your attributes based off of your race.
Yes.
Oh, no. All right. Here are the attributes. We follow down the list, so we're going to go to gnome, which is right here in the center. Enter. Oh, goody. So, you are going to have a +1 to your strength, so that turns that to a 16.
Alrighty.
You're going to have a +4 to your intelligence, or your IQ, which makes that a 13.
That's not bad.
No. You have a +3 to your ego, which is 17. You have a +1 to wit, which is 16. +1 to agility, which is 11. And a +2 to health,
Brings me
which
to
will
10.
make it 10. And a +2 to luck, which is going to make it a 16.
Not bad at the end of it.
Not bad at all. Next up is roll the racial special ability for your appropriate species. So now I'm going to zoom out on this one because we got to scroll a little bit past here. So we're going to go through all the stats here in a second. But we get the special abilities. Now, I got to read this part. No two people are exactly alike, and each of us will have something special that sets us apart from our peers. For characters, this is also true. Thus, along with racial special abilities that each character will have in common with their other races, they will receive a very unique special ability. The special ability lists in the following charts are for characters to gain during character creation phase. They are listed by race, even though they are unique character specific abilities. This is done because the racial stock of each character will have an influence upon their strength of these abilities. Any abilities that require power points must come from the character and not a container. During the character creation, roll percentile dice or D percentile, and then consult the appropriate chart to determine which character's new special ability is. So we've got to find the gnome.
Yes, to the gnome.
Elf special gnome. All right, you are going to need to roll me a percentile dice.
Righto. 77.
Also, you can get your own merch on their website as well. 77. Okay. Right here, 77. Speed Burst. Your character gets a +4 to their speed at the cost of 3 power points, or a +8 at the cost of 6 power points for for either 4 turns or 8 turns, respectively.
Ooh.
So you'll get a +4 to speed for 4 turns, or a +8 to speed for 8 turns at the cost of either 3 or 6 power points.
Nice, nice.
Now, speed is your turn in combat, as well as the number of attacks you get per turn.
Yes.
So, we got you. Speed burst. All right, so we checked that mark off. Next, we must select our occupation. The bread and butter of your character. The occupation. Occupations are what a character has to aptitude for. A wizard has an aptitude for casting magic, but this does not mean that they cannot learn to use a weapon. Similarly, that's English. Similarly, a warrior has an aptitude towards combat, but this does not mean that they cannot learn magic. Occupations do not limit what a character can do, and Akira's rule allows for characters to learn new things in their spare time. This is intended to provide for a greater range of character development, regardless of their starting occupation. The starting occupation determines the character's major attributes and minor attributes, as well as an occupational skill bonus, or OSB. This sets the character up for future advancements. A character may change their focus on play as play continues, but this will not change their starting occupation OSB, or which attributes they're considered major or minor. For example, a character who's starting off as a warrior might choose to use more spells than melee weapons, thus become acting more like a wizard than a warrior. However, their OSB and major and minor attributes will remain as that of a warrior regardless of their chosen path and career. The warrior, this is their, your basic head-in fighter, proficient with all weapons and armor, and such. They like to go. The glorified meat shields are the ones who like to rush into battle first. So they get a bonus to weapons and armor. Their major attributes are strength and health, and they do get a spell proficiency as well as a starting proficiency of 10%. The rogues are the most general character because they are the jack of all trades. They know a little bit of everything. They know how to fight, but not as good as a warrior. They know how to cast spells, but not as good as a wizard. They get, a little bit of everything. So they are kind of like your skill monkey. They kind of like know a bunch of things. So you get a bonus to your physical skills, your mental skills, as well as a small spell bonus. Their major attributes are agility and luck, and they get a spell bonus. The wizards are your basic magic using classes. They can cast fireballs, lightning bolts, fog. They can cast a wide variety of spells, which we will get to. Most spells will either have to be bought. You either have to purchase your own spells, or you have to learn your own spells, or you can find If you happen to find a dead wizard, you can take his spell book and learn all of his spells. Um, Generally, knowledging is that most wizards guard their spells due to jealousy and tend to not share any knowledge. This stereotype here doesn't really work well for my group because we shared everything. Everything. We have 3 wizards, and we're like, all right, cool. I'm done learning this spell. Do you want it? We're just like trading spells like they're trading cards. Uh but because wizards spend a majority of their youth studying and learning the prosperities of magic, they get a penalty for weapons due to their lack of physical training and such. But all wizards will automatically start with the linguistic skill, which is the spellcasting skill. And their starting proficiency is at 45%. So as a wizard, you get a penalty for weapons, but you get a huge bonus in spells. Huge bonus. I mean, compared to the rogue who only got a 10, this guy gets a 45. Any other skills they get a +5. Their major attributes are IQ and ego, and they get a huge spell list of their mentals plus IQ in spells. All right. Now say what you were going to be.
A wizard! A wizard! A soothsayer!
Soothsayer. This is designed to be a wizard.
Yes.
Despite, stereotypes, we're going to be a gnome wizard. So we have chosen our occupation.
See.
Put a little check. Yes. So we're gonna put a little check mark there. Your next check mark. Are you ready? This is the hardest. This is the hardest to do on the entire checklist, in my opinion.
It was my IQ and what?
Ego.
Ego.
Yes.
All right. What's the hardest thing?
This next session is, in my opinion, the hardest part to do on the entire checklist. What is your character's name?
Arno Fry.
What did you just say?
Sorry.
Arno Fry.
Arno Fry.
Yes.
Nice. All right. Next up, we got to roll to see if you're ambidextrous.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, so roll me a D100 and tell me what the number is.
Hiya. 33.
33 is to be ambidextrous, you have to roll less or equal to your agility ability score.
That's an 11.
Yeah, so you had to roll an 11 or less to be ambidextrous. So you, good sir, are not ambidextrous.
Alrighty then.
Now, for everyone watching here, if you are rolling, I will have Rabbit include the page number right here. But what ambidextrous does is, when you are dual wielding 2 weapons, you get a penalty to your offhand. If you're an ambidextrous, it removes that penalty. Next up, roll to determine your starting age. Roll 1d4 for me, sir.
A D4. A 1.
Yes. A 1. You are 16 years old.
16.
16. Now, if you would like to go to your race and like to calculate what a 16-year-old gnome would be, that's on you. But just for general terms, you are the age of 16. And I'd say if you would like to calculate it, because a 16-year-old dwarf who can live to 1,000 years old is way different than a 16-year-old orc who only has a maximum lifespan of 50.
I will do that later.
Yes, but for general terms, you are 16 years old. Now we have to do math. Are you ready?
Always.
You're gonna have to determine your stats,
No!
which is this math right here. So, stun points. What is the grand total? So if you would like to show them where your stun, life point, and power points
Of
are
course.
yes, there's the first section which is known as the starting value. That is the maximum of your current rank you're allowed to have of those attributes. Then next to it, it is labeled as max. That is the maximum. That is no matter how high of a level you get to, that is the maximum amount of points you can get in that section. So, for example, stun points is the grand total of all 7 attributes, which we learned is 99. It means no matter if he is level 100 or 120 or 87, if he has 99 stun points, he cannot go above 99 stun points.
Yeah.
Yes. So, showing off on the character sheet, the maximum for your stun points is all 7 attributes, which should be 99.
Yes.
Your life points is your strength, your agility, and your health.
37.
Add those 3 together.
37.
37. All right. And then your power points is your IQ, your ego, and your health.
40.
40. All right. Now, divide all those numbers by 6, round down.
I have to do even more math?
So you're only about a quarter away done with the math.
There's more math? 37 divided by 8. Alrighty. My stun points currently are 16. My life points currently is 6. And my power points currently is 6.
So your health and your power points are 6.
Yes.
So what's your stun points at?
Currently 16.
All right. So 16, 6, and 6. That is foreboding if I've ever seen that. All right. Your next up is your speed. Now, if you zoom in on that speed section, there should be speed and movement.
Yes.
Movement. Your speed is your combat value. It is when you how often you go in combat, how many attacks you're allowed per turn, earn your general movement is calculated in your movement. That is your wit, agility, and luck.
43.
Divide that by 3 and round it down.
14.
14. Your speed is 14.
And what is my movement?
We will calculate that in a second.
Alright.
Next up is your defense factor. Your defense factor is what is your kind of like your dodging bonus. So in the Akira system, there are 3 defenses, I guess I should say. There is your base defense factor, which is dodging, and then there's 2. Sorry, there are 2 defenses in the Akira system. There is your defense factor, which is kind of like your dodge rating, how quick you move and how fierce you are going to dodge, and then there's the armor rating. That is the armor itself, in which to prevent you from taking damage. So there are 3 hit sections. There is below your armor, below your defense factor, which you successfully dodge the attack. There is the hit on armor, which your armor takes damage but not you. Or there is the actual hit marker, which they hit you, you're taking damage.
It's not pleasant.
No. And the defense factor is calculated by your strength, your ego, and your luck, divided by 3 rounded down.
All right, that is 16.
And then we are going to determine the max number of skills you are allowed to learn.
Alrighty.
So if you can find that section on your character sheet, these are, that's kind of self-explanatory. This is the maximum amount of skills in that skill type you are allowed to learn. So there are 4 different kinds of skills. There are the weapon skills, the defense skills, the physical skills, and the mental skills. And we will go related on how each skill appropriates to each skill type when we reach the skills section. So, your weapon skills is your strength, IQ, your wit, and your agility, divided by 4.
14.
14. Defense is IQ, wit, health, and luck, divided by 4.
13.
Your physical is strength, agility, and health, divided by 3.
12.
And your mental skills is your IQ, your ego, and your wit, divided by 3.
That is 15.
All right. So we have computed maximum number of stun points, life points, and power points, and their stun life and life power value. We have computed speed and your defense factor. We have also computed the maximum number of skills allowed. Next up is your height and your weight.
Wait a moment, we haven't deduced the number of spells I can have. That is the one thing in the skills we have not done.
Yes. Hold off on that because that is determined by your IQ bonus,
Aye aye.
which we will get to in a second. We are going down the checklist
Aye aye.
Now, granted, when you guys have learned how to make a character, you may do this checklist in any order you wish, but we are just simply going down the checklist in order. We are going to determine your character's height and weight.
Alrighty.
So going down. All right. Height and weight. All right. To determine your height and weight, I am going to need to know if you are male or female.
Male.
All right. So now we are going to find a no male. So it tells you what your minimum and maximum height are going to be and the formula on how to do it. So you are going to need to roll me 3 d10s.
3 d10s.
Yes, and then that's how many inches you will be.
18.
18. So 18 converted into inches is 1'6".
I'm tiny.
No, hold on. Then we add 2'5" on top of that.
I'm still tiny.
Yes.
That's
the maximum
3'11".
3'11". The maximum height of a gnome is 4'11".
I'm tiny.
So you are 3'11", good sir.
Yes.
Now, to determine your weight, we continue going through. Again, minimum to maximum, and then the formula. So your, by the way, HR stands for height rolled. So he rolled an 18. So for HR here, that's going to be an 18. So I'm going to need you to roll me a D10.
Alrighty. Just one?
Yes.
5.
5. And then 2d20.
16 and 20.
You're going to be a chunky boy. So, 16 plus 20
36.
plus, what do you roll on your d10?
5.
5, so plus 5.
So 41.
Plus your height roll, which you rolled an 18.
59.
59. Plus 50.
109.
You are 109 pounds.
I was gonna say that's not bad, but for someone who's 3'11.
You're a chunk little boy. Yes. And then we get to figure out your movement. So going back up towards the character speed of movement. The character's movement is calculated by multiplying their movement number by 5. So we multiply by 5, round down. And that is how many squares on a board they're allowed to move. Movement is determined by multiplying speed times the movement factor. So your factor was 0.56. Multiply that by your speed, which was 16.
My speed was 14.
14.
7.84.
So you round down, so your movement is 7.
7!
You can move 7 squares in one turn.
It's not bad. Could be better, but not bad.
Now that we have determined those, back to the checklist. We have computed the character's height and weight, and compute character's movement based on their height, weight, and speed. Now we must compute their CMA, sight range, hearing range, and sense strength. And it says here, fill in your OSB values based off of your class. Have you already done that?
Pardon?
Your OSB values? Have you already done that?
I have not.
Not? All right. So down in the, we're kind of going a little out of pocket here, but down in the corner where it says OSB or occupational skill bonuses, you're gonna see that little box. That is based off of your occupation. Have you found it?
Yes, it is right here.
Okay, cool. Zooming in on that. As a wizard, you get a -5 to weapon,
Dude.
but you get a +45 to spells.
I'll take it.
I'm back through the checklist here. We're going to compute your combat movement adjustment, or CMA, and determining your sight, hearing, and sense strength. The CMA is that for every 5 feet or 1 square that you have moved prior to attacking or casting a spell, their attack or effect roll have an additional accruement for every 5 feet of movement that they must add to their CMA value. So, if you are not proficient in a weapon, or sorry, which means you do not have the skill under that weapon. So say you're using a sword, if you do not have the sword skill, you add your CMA. If you are using a ranged weapon or trying to cast a spell and moving at the same time, you are going to get a CMA detriment to that as well. So your CMA is calculated by 60 divided by your movement. So 60 divided by 7, round down.
8.
8. So you have a -8 CMA. So that means if he is trying to cast a spell, if he moves before casting that spell, for every 5-foot square he moves, he is going to get a -8 for every square. So if he gets 1 is -8, 2 is -16, -32, and so on and so on. Now we get to fill in the attributes table. So now this is where so now we have to fill in all of the stats. So going down here towards stats. Whether or not you are ambidextrous.
I am not.
Oh wait, no, we skipped a step. We have to do your sight range, hearing range, and sense range.
Yes.
Yes, my apologies. So, your sight range. Ready?
I am ready, yes.
Your sight range is your strength plus your health plus your luck.
42.
Multiply that by 5.
210.
210. So you have a 210 sight range. So don't write this on your character sheet, but multiply that number by 3.
630.
Okay, and then divide that by 5.
126.
You can see 126 squares on a board
Jeebus.
before your vision starts to become blurry. Now, your hearing range. Your hearing range is your agility plus health plus luck.
37.
37. You have a 37 hearing range in yards.
I can see far, but I'm deaf.
Are you sure? Rabbit.
Yes.
37, you said?
Yes.
Multiply that by 3.
111.
Divide that by 5.
22.
You can hear 22 squares away.
Compared to my sight, I'm deaf.
Hey, most people can see very well. I mean, if you stand in a football stadium and you can see me on the other side, but that does not mean you can hear me. Now your scent strength. That is your wit plus agility plus health.
37.
37 minus 24.
13.
You have a 13% scent strength. Yes, now we get to do attributes. Outside of their personality, these attributes are the 7 main values that define a character. Please see the occupation sector to determine which of these are major and which of these are minor. We've already done that. So we got strength, which is your physical strength. This is your physical prowess, determining how much you can lift and how much bonus of a damage. What is your strength, sir?
16.
16. You are able to lift 380 pounds. And you have a +2 damage bonus.
I'm strong for a tiny fellow.
You are indeed very strong. Lift is the weight in pounds a character can carry an extended period amount of time without any harmful side effects over their body weight. Over and above their body weight. For how much they can deadlift or move in an all-out concentrated effort, you take the lift number plus your body weight and multiply it by 1.6. This is a secondary number to equate how much your character can lift at one time or bench. So you're able to you can able to lift 380 pounds before you start becoming encumbered. Now, add your body weight, your weight plus your lift number, and then multiply that by 1.6.
782.4.
So you're able to lift 782 pounds, period.
Jeebus.
That is your bench limit. That's how much you can bench.
What, did they just shrink the Hulk?
No, but I like to think of you as like a muscular little guy, and your intelligent, your IQ, your raw intellect. IQ is what establishes a character's ability to understand and complex ideas, and the power within the brain to help manifest magic. It helps with skills that require dedicated thought to complete. For example, according to my superior deduction, I have solved the puzzle to open the hidden compartment, not just intuition. that tingling sensation in the back of your head that tells you there might be a hidden compartment somewhere around here. That is your inspiration. Your inspiration is your inspirational insights. You know, that's what that gives you the aha or eureka or by Jove, I think I got it.
Huzzah!
Huzzah. Elementary, my dear Watson, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes. So your IQ is
13.
what? 13. So you have a 24% inspiration. You're not the smartest wizard around. And now this is where you went back to your skills. You said you didn't know how many spells you were allowed to learn.
Correct.
Aaron, go back to that little section.
Yes.
Didn't you are the four: weapon, defense, physical, and mental.
Yes.
You are allowed to learn 3 more max skills due to your intelligence.
Oh,
so
good.
increase all those numbers by 3. And the amount of numbers of spells you're allowed to learn is your max number of mental skills. So what is that?
18.
18 plus your IQ bonus. So 18 plus 3.
21.
21. You're allowed to learn 21 different spells.
Do I win blackjack?
Congratulations. But no chicken dinner.
Oh, dang it.
Then we have the ego, which is your mental strength. Your ego is a character's strength of will and mental resolve. It controls the power of recovery of mental power. It also determines whether your character is meek, mild, or easily manipulated. A clueless clod who acts before thinking. An incidental know-it-all, git, or anywhere in between. You have a mental resistance. Mental resistance has a chance to successfully resist any mental style spells, attacks, or potions, such as illusions, compulsions, or hypnotic effects, or even a drug state. What is your ego?
My ego is 17.
17. You have a 51% mental resistance.
Not bad.
Yes. Now, also, we're gonna go back to your health corner here, where it says your stun, your life, and your power points.
Yes.
And under your power points recovery, you are gonna recover 3/2. So it says 3/2 per hour for power points. That means you recover 3 power points every 2 hours. So on an odd hour, you recover 1. On an even hour, you recover 2. That makes sense?
Yes.
Cool. Hope you guys are following along. We're on to wit. Wit is your mental speed and your adaptability to any situation. It measures your mental quickness and agility. It measures on how well your character can think on your feet. Wit is directly connected to the ability of a character to lie convincingly and how well they can attack. So you get a base chance to lie and an attack bonus. This is the base chance before any external modifiers that a character has to deceive another sentient being. To use this against another creature, to use this against another being, start with the number plus any modifiers and minus the target's IQ score in any modifier that they have. The result is a percentage chance to successfully deceive them. I hope that guy made sense to you guys. An attack bonus, an attack bonus. Your attack bonus comes from your stat. It's funny is that like most TTRPGs, your strength is both your attack and your damage. No, you have 2 separate attacks. So just because you're good at hitting things does not mean you're accurate. You can, when you're splitting a log, you got your wood choppers. Some of them take 2 or 3 hits. to split a log perfectly. You can have that one guy who can do it in one hit, but it does not mean he's accurate. Same as, hammering a nail in. You can do it in one hit, or you can mess it up and bend the nail. Is your wit, good sir?
My wit is 16.
16. You have a 48% chance to lie and a +2 attack bonus.
Alrighty.
Now we're on to agility, which is your physical speed and adaptability to any situation. Agility determines on how nimble and dexterous you are. Are you able to walk on a tightrope while juggling 4 running chainsaws with one hand and then drinking a glass of wine from the other? You could say you're pretty agile. Another example is a fine craftsman or con artist with a good sleight of hand could be very dexterous. Here you get to learn your situational salvage and your avoidance rating bonus. Your avoidance rating bonus is what is added to your dodge, your defense factor. Your situational salvage is a base chance before any external modifiers for a character to perform unusual feats that save their butt. There are times when people are performing some physical act that they could never repeat, even if they tried, right? Or, you can be dodging. Like, for an example, an explosion goes off and you quickly duck before the explosion hits you. How fast are you willing to quickly drop to your ground? For example, if your character was holding onto a rock outcropping that they needed to grab a rope. For example, if a character was holding onto a rock outcropping that they needed to grab a rope that was flying past in order to swing to safety, they would need to make a situational salvage roll before succeeding. I'm the hero of the day. What is your agility, good sir?
11.
11. You have a 19 situational salvage. Let's hope you're not dangling off any rocks anytime soon.
Indeed.
You have a +1 avoidance rating.
Hooray, the bare minimum.
Bare minimum. Actually, the bare minimum is 8.
Hooray, less than the bare minimum.
No, you have more than the bare minimum.
Usually, the bare minimum was 8.
No, you have an 11.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
stat for the bare minimum is 8.
Fair enough.
So almost. Once you get less than 8, then you start going negative. All right. Now we get on to health, your raw stamina, your constitution, how well you can withstand attacks, and how well you can hit yourself in the chest before coughing. My health is not very good, apparently. It is, and it also determines on how much damage they can take before they are considered unconscious or dead. It also helps you resist poison. So we got all this. We got your life point recovery, your poison, your disease, your death. So what is your health, good sir?
10.
10. 10?
Yep.
Cool. You have what? This is the bare minimum. 10 is the bare minimum, by the way. 10. You on your health stat, not your stat. Your health score.
Yes.
Stun, life, and power point. You have a 1 life point recovery rate.
Righto.
Now on your stat, you have a 0 poison factor and a 47% disease factor.
Okay.
So you do not get any bonuses to resisting poisons, and you only have a 47% chance to resist diseases.
Well, that's not that bad.
No, not terrible. And then back to your health score. You have there's a little gray box at the end of the line, far to the right where your life is. There's a little grape. It says death marker.
Yes.
That is the number you need to reach before you are considered dead. Dead. So yours is -2.
Oh, goody.
So he goes unconscious at 0, and then he dies at -2. Now we are on luck. Luck is self-explanatory. It's how lucky you are. It's random effects in the world. It strictly affects how well, how lucky you are and how well you can recover during combat. It's that lucky break of you get punched in the face and your vision goes blurry, right? But then you quickly come back last second to dodge the last attack. That kind of thing. So, sir, what is your luck?
16.
You're a lucky fellow.
Hmm.
Your stun recovery is 3/2. So turn 1, you recover 1. Turn 2, you recover 2. Turn 3, you recover 1. Turn 4, you recover 2, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
All right, now back to your stat. Skill adjust. Your skill adjust is 24%.
24%.
And you're allowed to have 3 uses per day.
3.
Now, when you're using your luck adjustment, you can either add or subtract 24 to whatever you roll you want if you use one of your lucks. Now, skill adjustment. This is a bonus that can be added to a proficiency of a skill rolling of a player's choosing. This does not permanently change the current proficiency of a skill, but temporarily adds to it. But this can also be used against an opponent's skill. For example, if a character was pickpocketing, they can use their luck to adjust to lower the opponent's chance of success. This is also a way for a character to alter the outcome of a spell that he has cast by following the same guidelines. Luck cannot be used in combat unless your character is an elf. Using your luck. Regardless of what a character's luck score is, one time per day, one time per day, you may use your luck to do over any situation where they do not wish to continue with the outcome. For example, if they get hit and the damage is enough to kill them, you can ask them to use their luck to allow a complete reroll, starting from the 2-hit roll. The drawback is that the second set of circumstances could be more detrimental than the first. And you must use the second roll. They also lose all luck skill adjustment usage for the rest of the day. So, this is how many. So the luck is, skill adjustment. Lux is how many times you can use your luck per day, the whole using your luck per day. And this is the bonus or detriment you use for skill adjustments. Granted, you could also use your luck to reroll a critical hit. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing fine. How are you?
Doing good. So, and then your last attributes. We did speed, and we did luck, but there's one more attribute you need to know.
Oh.
Yes. And that is your speed.
We did my speed.
It is the number of attacks per turn.
Number of attacks per turn. Oh. Okay then.
Or did we go?
No, we did not
We
do
go-
that.
Fill in the number of attacks using your speed chart. Yep. So that is all right. So now we get to the number of attacks. The number of attacks you're allowed to use per turn. This is how quick your character is in combat. What is your speed score, sir?
My speed score is 14.
14. Oh, you're just one away. You needed a 15 or higher but you only get one attack per turn.
All right.
If you had a 15, you could add the 4/3.
Well, that will come later, as if I ever use this character. You know what? That's a topic for another time.
Actually, you know what? You got speed burst, did you not?
I did.
So your speed burst either increases it by 4 or increases it by 8, depending on how many power points you're willing to spend. If you spend the 4, your speed goes up from 14 to 18, which is 3/2. Or if you do the 8, it goes from 14 to 22. 22 is 2 attacks per turn.
Well, all right then.
So, if you spend, if you want to spend the power points to go fast, you got to go fast. You may do so. Right. Fill in attributes. We have done strength. We have done IQ. We have done ego. We have done wit, agility, health, luck, and number of attacks using speed. Now we get to determine background and starting skills. Roll to determine your character's background. Then determine the starting money from that background. Then we go to that starting skill chart number. Then we will check for additional skills, learning the base proficiency from skills, and then learning how to purchase spells. Are you ready on that?
Yes.
All right. So first off, we got to determine your background. Where does your character come from? Did their parents help them along the way? Did they get a better education or upbringing than the next guy? During character creation, you must roll a percentile dice, D percentile, and then consult the character background table to determine the character's background. This background will determine the character's initial starting money, starting skill references, and additional purchasing points, if any. So go ahead and roll me a percentile. We're going to see your upbringing.
Percentile 90.
90?
90.
If you had just one more, you could have been upper class. But 90, you are the top of the middle class. An example of a top of a middle class is a gentleman or an executive of a business. Find the little square that says starting skill reference.
Chart.
Little box. It's a little box.
Starting skill chart.
Oh, in the book it says reference. So on the character sheet it might say chart.
Okay.
Apologies. Yeah, if it says starting skill chart or starting skill reference, you're going to be starting on chart. You will be looking on chart 8.
8.
And now to start, you're determining gold. So go over to the money section and where your gold is. You're going to roll me a percentile.
Percentile once more. 38.
38. Add 175 to that.
That is 213.
You start with 213 gold.
Jeebus.
As well as because you are a wizard,
Yes.
you get 1 additional purchase point for spells.
Ooh.
Now, money. The money of Akiria is divided into the basic precious metals: platinum, gold, silver, and copper. From this metal are divided in the basic platforms in which silver is worth approximately 10 times more than copper, gold is 10 times more than silver, and platinum is worth 10 times more than gold. Oh, the names used here are the mark, doubloon, dollar, dime, and penny. The mark is 1 ounce of platinum, a doubloon is 1 ounce of gold, the dollar is 1 ounce of silver, and a dime is 1/10 ounce of silver, and a penny is a 1/10 ounce of copper. A platinum mark is used in the shape of a small pyramid, resembling your typical D4. For a certain world across Akiria, there might not be any platinum due to its very high melting point. So most pre-industrial civilizations may not have platinum and will use gold as their highest denomination. There you can see the conversion rates. It's simple, 10 to 1. You can offer banks, loans, or outfitting, depending on your world created. Kind of set up a system that works for you. All right, next up, skills.
Skills.
Characters, like the player that they represent, have certain characteristics that make them unique from others. Some of these physical characteristics, such as attributes and appearance. Some are mental, such as accumulation of knowledge and skills that they have garnered over their lives. The section gives guidelines on how to assess and control what skills can be learned and how as well as how to use that knowledge in gameplay. Skills are what characters learn while they live and work in the world of Akiria. Starting skills include their early education, extracurricular activities, hobbies, knowledge passed down from relatives or friends, yada yada. Skills in Akiria will have limits on how they function, what they can accomplish, and how many a character can learn. These various limitations allow for gameplay to continue, but are not meant to limit a character's development. Ow. Now this gives a brief description on the skills. We have mental skills, which is based off intellect. Physical skills, which you require your hands to work on. Weapon skills, usually your weapons. And your defense skill is how well you're blocking, dodging, or avoiding danger, as well as your survivability. Now, we got a little chart here that tells us how you are able to get your starting skills. Every character starts with 2 skills, but you're allowed to accumulate more based off of your intelligence as well as your age. So, your starting skill, and then, sir, what is your intelligence? Your IQ? What is your IQ?
My IQ is a 13.
So he does not get additional skills because of his low intelligence. Which is funny because he is a wizard. Yes. And your age was 16, so you do not get an additional skill due to your low age. Non-seniority, I guess. So now we look over at the starting skill charts. The character rolls at least one of the 4 starting skill charts depending on their occupation and number of starting skills. See the starting skill chart that we referenced before. They will reference the appropriate column in which these characters are based upon starting skill based off of their background, which we know he is going to go off of column 8. If they roll the same skill more than once, they can either move to the next level, such as from simple to basic, re-roll, or gain double skill proficiency. So, for example, with skills, there are levels to skills. So here we have your simple, basic, intermediate, and advanced. And as you level them up, so going from simple to basic, you see that they get better. Basic to intermediate, your skills get better and better, but they have prerequisites. Usually, you have to get to a certain percentage, or they allow you to do certain complex things. Like acrobatics, starting off simple is how to avoid harm from falling or having improved balance, while the basic allows you to acquire feats from your hands, like jumping up on a wall and pulling yourself up, cartwheeling, handstands, and it's all the way up to advanced that allow the example, you're able to walk on a tightrope juggling chainsaws.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So just some examples on why that is. So if he was to roll the same number twice, so let's say he's under column 8. Let's say he rolls an 9 and then he rolls a 14. He's gonna get alchemy twice. So he can either increase it from simple to basic, gain double proficiency, or just do a complete reroll if he wishes. So your random starting skills chart. All right, the random skill. This is what you learned growing up, what you learned in your free time, what your parents taught you, what your neighbor taught you, your best friend, so on and so forth. What did you learn in your childhood? Roll me a percentile, please.
Percentiles.
Column
20.
20. So we go here. Here. Armorer simple.
Armorer?
Armorer. You were a blacksmith.
How the heck did I become a wizard?
Well, that would explain your high strength and low intelligence, because even though you're a wizard, magically attuned at magic and wanting to study a lot more, blacksmithing is a very physical laboring work that takes a lot of time.
Fair enough.
So you are, you're just in tune with magic. So anytime you weren't hammering down a piece of metal for your parents, you were reading a book. That's all you were doing. Now, for your class skill, this is what you did studying. This is what you were studying as a wizard. This is your proficiency. But also, as a wizard, you are already going to start with linguistic simple at 45. So he already learns linguistic simple.
And is the 45 my active or my base?
Your base.
Alright.
Now, when you are getting yourself a skill, there is going to be a base number and your active number. You're always going to be using your active number when rolling or determining skills, but your base number is what your current level is, and then you add any bonuses from your OSB over to become your active. So as a warrior, let's say you earn a sword skill. You learn the sword skill. Starting off at 10% on character creation, they get a plus 20 bonus to any weapon skill. So their active number becomes 30% learning. Or as a rogue, with the acrobatics, they get a plus 15. So they start with 25. So on and so forth. And because you are a wizard and don't have any bonuses to mental skills, you just have a flat 45.
Alright.
But besides that, roll me what you were studying. What were you studying besides magics?
46.
46. Down column 8 again. 46 right here. Crafter basic.
I forget, is basic better than simple?
Basic is better than simple. So you will be starting at Crafter Simple with a 40% in base. And then you will do Crafter Basic at your bonus proficiency, which is 1% plus your starting active bonus.
What is that again?
For wizards, I believe it's only a +5, but I will double check for you. Wizards starting skill proficiency +5%. So your armorer, your base starts at 5%, and your builder basic starts at 5%.
All right.
Oh, that's random. I was like, so, sir, you are the ultimate. So you know how we said gnomes were like the tinkerers?
Yeah.
You are a blacksmith and carpenter
And a wizard.
and a wizard. You know how buildings are constructed. You know how armor is made. And you know how weapons are forged. You know how to use magic. You are a warfare gnome. That's for damn sure. When it comes to the categories, like I was explaining, there's weapon skills, defense skills, mental skills, and physical skills. Oh, so we'll go to one of them that he rolled armorer because armor is like right here in the beginning. Meaning, armorer can either be used as a weapon skill or a defense skill. Oh, and so, um, that goes towards his max number of skills in that section. Though once he has chosen which category he wants it under, he cannot change that. So, sir, would you like your armor to be more of a weapon skill or a defense skill?
Um.
This skill allows an armorer to make weapons and armor as long as the item's original item strength does not exceed that of which the character's limited IS based upon their current proficiency. You will need time and appropriate materials, as well as the armorer tools to either create or repair an item. As you grow in skill, you can create stronger items with more of an IS. This does not allow for the assembly of weapons or armor that have multiple or moving parts, such as bows, crossbows, or anything of the mechanical sort. However, you may create an individual component. The base chance of success is modified by your knowledge.
I'll say it's defense.
Defense, all right. You're more of an armor tinker than a weapon tinker.
Yes.
You know how to forge weapons, but you favor the armor. Which is also funny because you're a wizard who can't wear armor.
Yeah. Yeah. But I can make armor for my party.
You can't. And at simple rank, you may create accoutrements and simple weapons at the rate of 1 item strength per hour. And you must roll hourly. You are unable to repair items at this rank. At basic, you're allowed to create and repair accoutrements and simple weapons. And then the build and repair rates are at 2 per hour. So, see, it just kind of gets you better and better. And then now we go to the next skill, which was... what?
Next skill is linguistics.
Next skill is linguistics. It is a mental skill. Can only be used in mental. You must use mental.
Mental.
This skill allows a character to fluence in additional spoken languages beyond their local dialect and the common language of the 12 character races. It also allows a character ability to read and write in any language. A character without linguistics cannot read, write, or cast spells. As a character improves in linguistics, they learn more complex spells and reduce the time it takes to copy a spell if the appropriate materials are available to them. The spell time and copy per stage in the hours does not need to be performed in a single continuous block of time. A stage 2 spell will take twice as much time to copy as a stage 1 spell. When using the skill for the communication and understanding of languages other than that of the character's primary, a successful and failure chance will generate training points. The category the skill was assigned. The base chance of success is modified by the knowledge and cumulative direction of the referee. Carrying on, what is so with the simple, um, so you don't get any like special abilities with linguistics. It's just how long it takes you to copy a spell and how long it takes for you to, or a chance of you learning a new language, as well as the maximum number of spell stages you are allowed to copy from. I cannot wait till the spell book is released and we um, get to have stage 10 spells, which in the base book we're only up to stage 3. We only have partial. We have almost all of stage 1, almost all of stage 2, and only a partial amount of stage 3. And when the wizard book or when the spell book comes out, the spell and alchemy book comes out, we will have all of the spells and all of the alchemy, all of the poisons, all of the potions. I'm excited. Sorry, I went my little nerd kicked out on that. What is your next skill, sir?
My next skill is crafter, both simple and basic.
We had to go back up because these are alphabetized. Crafter. It can either be used as a physical skill or a mental skill. This skill allows the crafter to construct or repair items of fine craftsmanship. The crafter can apply across a range of applications from creating jewelry to making a wagon wheel. The crafter needs to have the necessary amount of time and appropriate materials such as wood, stone, clay, herbs, spices, yada yada. And will also need the appropriate carpenter's tool or appropriate tools such as carpenter's hammer, chisel, utility knife, file, utensil, blah blah blah, to create or repair said item. The limits placed upon the creation of an item and are its size, material, and strength. Each hour spent crafting an item counts as a success or failure for training point generation in the category of which the skill was assigned. The success chance is required for when using the skill to perform feats of non-constructing nature, such as improving the quality of prepared meals. You can also be a cook if you're a crafter. The base chance of succeeding may be modified by addition of knowledge and circumstances in the discretion of the referee. So, you started with basic. So, simple at this rank, a crafter may craft items smaller than 3 cubic feet made of a single natural medium, such as wood, stone, or clay. No metals, ceramics, or other materials that require refining can be crafted in this rank. Crafting rank is 1 item strength per hour, and success must be rolled craftily. But you're starting at basic. At this rank, the crafter may repair and craft items smaller than 4 cubic foot square. Or, I can read, I promise. Basic. At this rank, the crafter may repair and craft items smaller than 4 square feet, made of a maximum of 2 different natural materials, such as wood, stone, clay, etc. No metals, ceramics, or materials that require refining can be used at this rank. When repairing an existing item at this rank, the crafter cannot repair any damage if the repair requires forging or casting, such as a bow, the bow of a crossbow, hinges of a chest, yada yada. The remaining repairs would be limited to the natural materials of that item. Your build rate repairs is at 2 IS per hour. So nothing bigger than 4 feet, basically, you can attempt to repair if it is made from wood, stone, or clay.
That doesn't sound too bad.
Yes. And would you like to make that a physical or a mental skill?
That's. I'll do physical. Just have one of each.
Fair enough. All right, sir. And that is it with skills, I believe, because you only got 3.
Yes.
Yes. Now we get to go to spells.
Spells.
Magic is the integrated. integral. Magic is an integral part of a curia. This section gives you the rules and partial list of spells as intended as a guideline for how spells work and interact. Spells are constructed to allow any character the option to learn and use them. So here's just the general rules on how a spell would work. Reading a spell, we got the time of cast, how long it will take to cast. Initial memorization time. I'm initial memorization time is how long it takes you to memorize and learn this spell. This is essentially you learning a new spell. And it is the amount of hours to learn minus your spell OSB. So because he's a wizard, uh, if a spell took 50 hours to learn, minus his 45 from spellcrafting, you would only need 5 hours to learn this brand new spell. To learn a new spell, to completely learn a new spell, must be done in a one set amount of time, with only the distractions being food and sleep. Assuming that you have, um, assuming that you have 8 hours of sleep per day, and you give off 3 hours for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That only leaves you 13 hours per day to memorize a spell. So, say you have, say even with your OSB minus 45, say it still takes you 20 hours to learn a spell. You must spend exactly 2 days learning that spell with no distraction. Make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Just need confirmation. Then there is the daily study time. This is after you have learned the spell. This is every day. This is the amount of time it takes for you to study your spells in the morning. Because so when you set a spell list, these is like, these are you got. It's basically depending on your party, but standard when you're packing up camp, it takes an hour to pack up camp. So you have an hour to study spells that you want to use for the day. And if you tend to use a spell that you didn't study in the morning, you get a detriment. Power cost, this is how much power it costs to cast a spell. And the prerequisites is usually from upgrading spells. So go from a stage 1 spell to a stage 2 spell has the prerequisites needing it. Oh, my apologies.
What's that?
A warrior does not have an OSB in spells, thus they could not receive purchase points even if they got the linguistic spell at rank 1.
Oh, good.
So you don't learn any spells.
No.
Not yet. Now, starting spells at character generation. A character must have a linguistics at symbol at 45 or better and have an OSB in spells to purchase any spell during character generation. Because a wizard gets purchase points because they start with the linguistic spell. A rogue who rolls linguistics basic has the starting symbol at 45, thus giving them purchase points. However, a warrior does not have an OSB in spells, thus they could not receive purchase points, even if they had the linguistic spell. A character will receive a number of purchase points equal to their starting power point score, plus any additional ones from your background. So you had 1. So what is your power?
My power?
Your PowerPoint score.
Uh, at the current time, my PowerPoint is 6.
6. So you have a +1 from your background, so you have 7 purchase points.
Sweet.
Yeah. These purchase points may be purchased to new spells. So when you spend purchase points, you may use to get a new spells. As well as if you choose not to, you can use remaining power points to power up existing spells by 5%. All purchase spells starts with the starting skill proficiency upon character creation. As a wizard, you get 5% starting on your spells.
All right. So, at 0 proficiency, my spells get an active of 5, or do they just automatically start at 5?
No, the base starts at 5. Your active is your spell OSB, which is 45 plus your base.
So 50.
Yes.
Jeebus.
And then you get even more because you're a gnome. Now, here are all the rules on spell casting, on whether or not you have the spell memorized, the detriments, whether or not your linguistics level is high enough to know the spell, if you've memorized the spell, studied it, all that. Now, there is something called a focus in which you are able to purchase, and or you can make a focus yourself. A focus allows you to gain a bonus to any spell that you are casting.
All right.
Think of them as like wands or amulets and that kind of thing. If you were to make it yourself, you must spend the appropriate time to make it, and it would have a bigger effect than that of one that you have purchased. So, um, so focuses have a plus 45 to any given roll of a focus that you have made. Whereas if it was made by someone else, it only gives you a 25 bonus, as well as there's a 30% chance of it just being destroyed and just accumulate to dust.
All right.
Now, a focus can only be casted in a certain spell. So you pick one spell. If like, say, example, Wand or Fireball, it can only be used to bonus for the fire. Here, so if you had a healing spell, that fire focus would not help you with the healing spell unless you had a healing focus. Now that being said, Ed, would you like to purchase spells now, or would you like to do that later?
I'll do that later.
All right. Now, just to go over on how spells work, a spell has normally a roll is anywhere between 1 and 100. Spells have a 0 to 200 range, and that is because of how powerful wizards they get with their bonuses. They have a plus 45. So if you're rolling, Rabbit, roll me a D100.
D100, you say?
Sir.
44.
44. So he had a 44 plus his 50 for being a wizard. That's 94. All right, so that's in this 80 to 100 range. So accuracy, giving you, increases the accuracy of a weapon, gives you a +2 chance to hit for 3 turns. But you see, like, he rolled only a 44. If you happen to roll a 94 plus 50, that'd be 144, which would be in this range. And then if you had a focus on top of that, that'd be 50 plus 45, which is 95 plus to any roll he has. So you can get up to the 200s, as well as there are detriments. If you roll below 50, there is a bad thing that happens. Um, Rolling a natural 1 is an automatic failure, causing the detriment, and a natural 100 is the best that it could possibly be. So it still has those ranges. But see, like here, when it says cast time 1 second, this is instantaneous, it just happens. Whereas in the Ares Blessing, takes 1 turn. You can choose to hold that spell for concentration and hold it. You get shot, you can move around, and you can hold it and attack, all those great things. And then after spells. Oh wait, no. Now that we have determined spells, we go back to the checklist. On down our checklist, we have determining background, determining starting money, determining skill chart, determining skills, determining proficiency, and purchase spells. Now we must compute the combat numbers. Which is determining your armor rating and your defense rating, as well as armor and weapons.
Alrighty.
Determine familiarity adjustments for those weapons, and determining avoidance rating and defense rating for your armor, and compute the parry and shield version if you have some. Note, starting rank is 1 unless determined other by the referee. That's fine. But now we get to go to equipment. Equipment! For consistency, all weapons and armor have a basic guideline to follow. Armor and weapon statistics and prices are designed to give the base value for their purchase and use. These values are meant to simulate the reality of the armor and weapons used in the game. These are not meant to reflect their real life value. Just as a editor's note.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the way that armor factor is determined is that when you have purchased an armor, they are set to armor types, anywhere between armor 1 to armor 5. Armor 1 being light armor, armor 2 being a little bit heavier, armor 3 being medium, armor 4 being a little bit heavier, and then armor 5 being the heavy armor. And then your armor factor is that of which you determine which armor you purchased, which, boom. And then if you have a shield, as well as an accoutrement. Accoutrements are helmets, gloves, leg plating, neck guard, all that. Now, at armor, as a wizard, something to keep in mind, armor gives you spell casting adjustments, which are usually negative.
Indeed.
In fact, they're all negative. So wearing the heaviest armor will give you the most armor, but you have a minus 55 to spell casting. So there's that.
I will go with leather. That's it. It just says leather.
Yeah, leather armor, yeah.
Yes. How much gold is that?
On page 110, leather is 12 gold. Pocket change to you, sir.
I'm just going to make a note and deduct it later. Alright, I will also get... steel bracers.
Compared to leather bracers. Wow, steel bracers doesn't have a spell detriment.
Nope. Plus, they give me more item strength. And I will get a kettle hat.
Okay.
You said the prices were where?
The previous page 110.
110. Ah, there we go.
Steel bracers, 15 gold.
Yes.
No, I was just trying to find it because in my group I'm playing a wizard,
Okay.
and they said it's more beneficial to wear nothing but accoutrements instead of armor.
Hmm.
And I was trying to find that in the book. I'm gonna have to ask him again why that was.
Well, I mean, from what I can see, from what I picked, I have no spell casting adjustment.
You just have that DF adjustment.
Yeah.
What is that, -1?
Yeah. I believe that will be all the armor that I get.
Yeah, it's something to do with the armor breaking.
Ah.
Now we are so um with your armor,
See.
we are going to I'm gonna need to pull up a character sheet just so I can have these words. All right, there we go. So, with your armor, where you got your base defense factor,
See.
which is,
16.
and then you got your so then you will add your avoidance rating bonus, which you get from your agility.
My agility +1,
So you add +1,
which would be 17.
and then your defense adjustments.
Comes from my armor.
Yeah, come from your armor. So your leather has a -1, your bracers have 0, and your kettle hat also has 0.
Yes.
So you have just a -1.
So 16 is my avoidance rating.
And you have no skills that give you a bonus to your defense factor.
No.
Then yes, that would be 0. So yes, your avoidance rating or your dodge will be 16.
Yes.
All right. Then we scroll up here to the armor factor. So your armor factor, you have leather, which is an A1.
Yes.
Then you have 2 accoutrements,
Yes.
which makes it 35. So your armor factor is 35. So you have your avoidance rating, your armor factor, your skill adjustment. You don't have any skills that increases your armor. And then you have your familiarity bonus. So you have no skill adjustments that affect your armor. Then we go over to armor familiarity. So when you have familiarity, you have a familiarity bonus to the items you are currently wearing. Your armor and your weapon. It's how familiar you are with it, how well you've practiced with it. And the more you practice with it, the more you get better at it, and the more bonuses you get. So familiarity bonus, You have 0 right here. So you currently, yeah, 0 familiarity, which gives you a minus 20 armor. Regret not being a warrior now, huh?
There's still 31.
And then you have no other adjustments.
No.
No, sir. You do not. All right. Page 41. Okay, cool. Now we get to go to the weapons.
Hooray!
All right. If you would like a weapon,
To my knowledge, I can't really use one very well, can I?
yes, because according to the, where are you, little stinker? According to the gnome, due to their outer, shorter limb length, body size, they extend their length of the flexibility of their fingers. They get a +5 bonus to all spellcasting rolls, as well as a +5 to all physical skills that do not have a weapon or defense in the category. This, however, means that they cannot give the same leverage to the melee weapons attacks as other races. They have a -3 damage adjustments, only the damage adjustment against opponents when they are attacking with a hand-to-hand combat or any weapon that does not have the projectile or thrown category. So you can use a ranged weapon
Would that
without
count as a
detriment.
bow? Or would that count... I mean, that's a projectile.
Yeah, any projectile weapon or thrown weapon, you will not get the damage detriment to. But also, your skills. Let me go back to your skills real quick.
Yes.
You have the crafter basic, I believe you said was going to be a physical skill.
Yes.
You have being a gnome, you get a +5 because that was a physical mental skill. So you get a +5 bonus for being a gnome. As well as you get a +5 bonus to all spells just for being a gnome.
Well,
So
damn.
whenever you purchase a spell, its base will start at 10. Now you can put an additional purchase point in to add 5 more levels to it. So it starts at 10 just because you're a gnome.
Yes.
But then and then if you happen to, you're like, oh, I want to upgrade this spell, it goes up to 15, 20, 25, 30. But starting, it's going to be at 10 because you're a gnome.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway.
I... I am thinking.
Now, if you would like a ranged weapon, the hand crossbow only requires one hand to shoot.
That is
So you can still cast a spell with it.
Yes, I believe I'll do that.
Or the throwing knife.
Hand crossbow.
Okay. So going down here, weapon attack data. This all revolves around your familiarity.
Yes.
Alrighty. So under weapon attack data, your fumble and critical, you have a so for your weapon data, familiarity
-5.
starts at -5.
Yep.
You can never reach 100% with a weapon, by the way. Weapon attack data. Your fumble and critical starting at 0% is a 1 to 5. So you will fumble or critically miss if you roll a 1 to 5.
Yes.
Your critical is a 100. Familiarity attack adjustments is at a -10. But then you will add your wit attack bonus.
Isn't that just a +2?
I don't know what's your wit.
It's a +2.
It's a +2. You have no skills that give you a bonus to attacks.
Nope.
And no other magical effects, so your total attack adjustment is -8. Now, explaining that to the guys watching the video. Oh no, starting off, you will have a negative to your attack, but do not worry, having a negative is not necessarily a bad thing. Because even looking right here in the book, even experts, let's say 70%, still are going to have a -3 to their attack adjustment. Now, granted, there you can get rid of the negatives through leveling up familiarity, increasing your wit, as well as having any magical bonuses or skill adjustments. So leveling up skills, like if you had a weapon skill, it'll that gives you a bonus to attack. That leveling that up will get rid of your negatives. But starting off at rank 1 with a negative is not a bad thing. You just have to progressively get better at making it not a negative. So as you are growing, now to determine your damage, now if you I will explain that during combat. So weapon. All right, so going towards back to the hand crossbow. Now we have to go into the nitty-gritty of stuff. Crossbow, hand. So, item strength. It's this one. Is 25.
I think I already got all of this part down.
Oh, you were doing this stuff while I was
Yeah.
cool. But to explain what the W, like all these weapon types is, the nil, the W3, the W7, all that, that's the weapon types is to essentially affect ranged weapons and your parry. So if we go to the weapon factor here, based off the weapon type, they will have a parry adjustment as well as a velocity damage factor, which is your ranged attack. So a hand crossbow, being a W8, does not have a parry. You can't block with a hand crossbow, but it adds a +2 damage to all ranged attacks made with it. So a bolt, throw a bolt for a hand, does 1d4. So whenever he shoots someone, he would roll a 1d4 +2. And because it is not a melee weapon, he does not get to add a strength bonus to it.
But that's before my familiarity bonus, yes?
Yes. And a familiarity bonus, you believe you still having a 0 familiarity in it,
Yes.
you have a 0 damage bonus to it. As well as any skill bonuses to it, but you know. Alrighty. Then after weapons. Alrighty, then after weapons, we get the description of weapons and then basic equipment. This is, your hardy stuff, your toolkits, your clothes, your adventuring packs, you know, rope, quiver, lanterns. This is your basic necessity stuff. It even has foods and all that. So I'm sure you're gonna buy all this, you know, later.
Aye.
But you just kind of get the standard necessities from the equipment. Now, um, now going through the checklist. Purchase equipment. You have done that. Fill out weapon and armor information. You have done that. Determine the familiarity adjustments for your weapon and armor. We have done that. Determine your avoidance and defense ratings. We have done that. And then compute parrying and shield if usable. We have done that. And just like that, we have finished the checklist of our character. Your character is done, ready to go with a few minor things like he's going to purchase spells later and he's going to purchase some equipment later. That's something that he will choose to do. But something that I wanted to talk about is how combat works. That spells. Spells. All right. So, um, the way all right. So the way that combat works is when you hit someone with a weapon, then you are damaging their you have your stun, your life, then your power. When you hit someone with enough stun points, it rolls over into life point damage, and that's what this damage chart down here is. For every 4 damage taken, they are going to take 1 point of damage. Unless you're a dwarf, of course, then the math is different. But the standard is for every 4 points of damage equals 1 point of life. So when you reach stun, goes into life, goes into power. So choose. Um, if you're doing non-lethal, so when you run out of stun, on any damage that is converted into life is full of life. So say you had 4 stun and 6 life left. Someone hits you, they deal 4 and 1, bringing you down to 0 stun and 5 life. And then someone else hits you also for 4 and 1. Because you have 0 stun, it is all converted over into life damage. So 4 and 1, that's 5 points of life damage, bring your character down to 0 life, making them unconscious. Now there's that death marker. They don't die until they go to negative whatever their death marker is. So there's that. But if you want to do non-lethal damage, like if you just want to knock someone out and do non-lethal damage, you can do stun into power, or for non-lethal, because when you reach 0 power points, your character falls unconscious. Regardless of stun or life, if you reach 0 power points, your character is unconscious. Or negative. Once your power points have reached negative, sorry. If you want to do non-lethal damage, you can, instead of going to life, you can choose to have it go into power by referee's discretion on what is non-lethal damage. If you want to knock a character out, you go from stun to power. Once they have reached negative power, they just need to hit -1 power, the character goes unconscious, regardless of how much stun or life they have left. So, if a character has, you're fighting a spellcaster and he's used a bunch of spells and he only has he has 2 power points remaining, and you have a club and you're like, I just want to knock him out because he might know something, and you hit him. Say he still has 40 stun points and 30 life left. You bring him down to negative power points, he's unconscious. Period. Done. The end. And so after every scenario, and also you guys have probably heard it in skills or some other note that we have read, that it generates training points. Training points is what you use to level up or rank up your skills and your weapons and armor. So after a battle, or after a skill usage. So let me go to skills real quick. Um, yeah. So whenever in combat, whenever you finish a combat, you will gain training points towards weapons, defense, mental, and physical for you to use in those skills. The training points accumulate. You can also use training. You can also use skills outside of combat, and you can either train with other people, or if you actually use the skill, you can get 50 points towards that skill for success, 1 point towards as a failure. We call that the pity point. Uh, and so as these skills are leveling up, you can use this chart here, skill point advancement, to level up your skills. So, for example, Rabbit got the crafter skill. He wants to level up his crafter. He would use this. He would be using physical training points to level up the skill because he chose it as a physical category. Remember when we were selecting skills, he had the choice of either physical or mental, and he decided to go with physical. Now, because he has chosen physical, he cannot change it, and that is because he is putting physical training points into that skill. So when he accumulates physical training points, either by using the crafting skill itself, or by combat, or by another necessary means of him receiving physical training points, he would use this skill point advancement chart to do the math to level up his skills. Now, as it said at the end of that checklist, unless specified otherwise, all characters start at rank 1. As you gain training points, as you guys gain training points through, your weapon, your defense, your physical, and your mental, you add all of those up to create your total amount of training points received. You never spend your total on anything because your total is what is earned to rank up. This is essentially like we use rank instead of levels, but essentially this is you leveling up. So when you rank up, once you've reached a total of 1,000 skill points earned in all categories, you can rank up to rank 2, 3, 4, and 5, and such. When you rank up, you get to increase your stun points, your life points, and your power points as you rank up, though they can never exceed the maximum value. Rank is based on the total number of training points your character has earned. This total is a cumulative amount for all 4 categories: weapon, physical, defense, and mental, as well as any individual training points or skill usage over the life of your character. Creatures will also have a rank value. This allows the referee to match up creatures with the current rank of a character that is not. This rank is not announced to the players and is only used by the referee for determining a fair play. So when a creature has a rank, that's determining their like challenge rating. Um, but yeah, as you increase rank, you get better, you get stronger, and so you accumulate the 4 training points that you use. So you will be spending, let's say you have a weapon, you have 200 weapon training points. You'll be spending those 200 weapons to level up your weapons: defense for armor, physical for skills, weapon also for weapon skills if you have chosen a weapon category. Now, for stats, you can use training points to rank up your stats, to increase your stats. Now, for now, this is why you had to learn on what was a major attribute and which one was a minor attribute, because major attributes cost less than that of a minor attribute. So, a wizard, his major is IQ and ego. He is allowed to use mental, weapon, and defense training points, but not physical training points to rank up these. And the reason why these are so high is because like leveling up your attributes is more of a late game kind of thing, but you can actually combine them. So say you had 3,000 training points in all 3 of these, you can spend 8,000 of those 9,000 training points to rank up from an attribute from 1 to 5. Or, you know, if he had a total of 16,000 between these three, he could increase it from his 13 to his 14. You know, so that is the on how training points and combat work. Now I just want to just go to a creature, just kind of show off the creatures a bit, which sometimes they don't show. Because my PDF doesn't like. There you go. So like say, you know, here's cave bears are just cave bears, but let's show something like that's crazy, like the acid spitter. Look at this crazy little boy. Look at him, little 3-headed beetle that sprays acid. They have their abilities which cost them power, their stats. They have their own stuff here. But here is like where a creature rank is. This is determining challenging level. Their armor and dodge, their bonuses or negatives to hit, as well as their bonuses or negatives to damage, as well as a health and stun score, in which you could either, there's the average or there is, you know, you can roll them. But after each combat is done, you have to determine, you know, training points, and each character will earn all combat rules and everything are explained in the book. We just wanted to generally go over on how to create a character. Again, if you guys want, it's right there. Wanted to, if you guys wanted to get your own Akiria book or merch, such as this One World Infinite Possibilities in the Akiria, yeah, you go to our own game company .com or Akiria.com, same place. They both lead you anywhere to get yourself merch, shirts, as well as the player's handbook. Uh, you can get the player's handbook. Download any pre-made pods or adventures that have their own accumulative storyline, as well as any apps to make character managing easy and accessible. And come here, show them love, support. I believe, yeah, right there. They also came out with their own book, which will help with world building. Oh, here, get the stuff, and you can play Akiria today. Hey, I want to thank y'all so much for watching, and I'd like to thank Rabbit for joining me here.
Aye, aye.
Yeah, and I will see you all adventuring, hopefully very soon.